Hey everybody, Dustin DePirac and Andy Graham. We're back here at Memorial Stadium for the first time in like 6 months.
Are you ready for
or
some
whatever
football?
it's been.
That's right.
There was a little bit of it today. Today was the spring game. It was not the Cream and Crimson game because they didn't split it up that way, and there weren't a whole heck of a lot of people here. But there were some good things and bad things. What they did was, again, they pretty much played first team versus first team, offense versus D, second team versus second team, and then kind of split after there. There was some third team, with Teddy Shell and Adam Follett handling things. I believe the Hoosiers won over Indiana 27-24.
With a stirring comeback.
Yeah,
Set
although
up
the
by-
integrity of the game was pretty much shot after they didn't really know how to handle a pick six. Lawrence Barnett had an interception for a touchdown, and instead of letting that team that just threw a pick come back on the field, they pretty much put the next unit in. And from that point, it was more or less chaos.
It looked like there was some mixing and matching of personnel.
Yeah, and really, but that's really the point anyway.
Yeah.
It's not really the point is not to make writing game stories for easy for us. It's about actually learning things about your team. And I think that there was a lot of interesting stuff we saw today. You saw a lot of the up tempo offense that Kevin Wilson was talking about, especially early. You had 2 touchdowns in the books by the 10-minute mark. They were really moving quickly, running a lot of plays. Moving things along that way, and you saw just a ton of different formations as well. I mean, that's Kevin Wilson came in this entire situation said, we're going to run what we can run, what our quarterbacks can do. We're going to block what we can block. We're going to be multiple, and they really stuck to that. I think that's what we really saw today. There was nothing definitive. You saw some pistol formation. You saw some true shotgun formation. You didn't really see any eye backs because they don't have enough running backs to run a running back and a fullback in the same. In the same backfield
And
right now.
sometimes they went empty and took the back into the slot too.
Yeah. So they moved a lot of that, but it looks like it's going to be truly multiple. They're going to do they're going to run a lot of different formations. They're not going to be easy to scheme. It's going to be spread out in the sense that there's going to be 3 wide receivers a lot of the time, but you saw some 4. I don't know if we saw a lot of 5. But there was a lot of that. I mean, it definitely showed a lot of what Wilson has been saying, that they are going to be hard to predict. They're not going to be a team that you're going to be able to pigeonhole. They're going to be able to put in a box in terms of what they do. Defensively, you saw a lot of nickel formation just to counteract that, basically. So, and 4-man fronts as they kind of expected. So a lot of philosophical
They
stuff.
feel their
we
defensive
expected.
front's one of their strong points apparently. So yeah, I think you're going to see mostly 4-man up there.
Right. So each unit had some things that they could kind of hang their hat on, and some things that they had they really aren't going to want to watch tomorrow. Offense, combines 2 offenses combined to score 51 points. Each quarterback led at least 1 touchdown drive. Dusty Keel threw for 2. Ed Wright Baker threw for 1. And I think Teddy Shell ran for 1. I think Adam Follett threw for 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think all 4 quarterbacks came through with 1 score. But you also had some ugly turnovers. Dusty Keel threw 2 picks. Greg Heben got 1 of those. He was really an animal today.
He was
really
kind of
impressive.
Dusty's nemesis, especially early. He broke up 2 passes that were actually pretty well thrown, and then he
Yeah.
got the pick.
Yeah, no, he made some
and
nice
then,
plays.
Lawrence Barnett got the pick 6.
Exactly.
off of
He
that.
threw that. He threw it behind Teddy Bolzer. I think Jeff Thomas was on the covers there. I got tipped up in the air, and Barnett caught it and just kind of walked in. There were some other big plays. I think it was Keel hit. I want to say it was Belcher on a big 52-yard pass when they were down at the 6 at one point. Wright Baker hit Dre Muhammad on a really deep post route. He always has good springs, Dre Muhammad. He seemed like he had another one.
I thought the deep balls looked good. I mean, I thought,
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't look good to Doug Mallory on the defensive side of the ball, but the quarterbacks threw the deep ball well. The receivers got open, made some physical catches. Although, DeMarlo wasn't really open on his touchdown catch. It was like the 14-yarder, I believe it was.
Yeah, he made a great play over
and
top of somebody. I can't remember who it was.
That was a good ball by Dusty. He put it up where the only receiver of the sort of size that Belcher has could go get it. I thought the execution overall was better really than I thought it might be, given the complexity of the changes that they're making offensively.
Yeah,
given the
and
pace
the
of
tempo.
game,
Yeah,
given the tempo. We saw bang, 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 bang. And yet, I didn't see anything really horribly discombobulated.
No.
I didn't see anything.
They're a long
they
way from
executed
on
pretty
point
well.
with this, and they're obviously playing against their own defense, which is
Right.
trying to keep up with their own pace. It's not the most stalwart group, obviously, as we've seen in the past. But in terms of just looking like they know what they're doing,
Exactly.
for the most part, they looked okay. There was a couple things that were sketchy, but a lot of the disorganization happened with guys that were like far down the list. I think Matt Zacheski had a good day running the football, but there were several times where you saw Dylan McCullough grab him and move him back into position. Matt Zacheski was playing linebacker last year, so they moved him over to like playing running back and fullback and that sort of thing. So he's still trying to learn. I guess let's go straight to the position battles that people are going to want to know about. Everybody's going to want to talk about quarterback. And as they, this really is the quarterback battle that Kevin Wilson does not want you to know about, because he pretty much said straight up the reason we're not allowed in practice this year very much is he doesn't really want to talk about where this quarterback thing is. He wants to be able to operate this thing in a vacuum, which is understandable, I guess. I mean, he doesn't want people speculating as to, okay, this is what his completion percentage was today.
He's really just trying to protect players.
Yeah, no, well,
I mean, that's what he's really
doing. Protect.
Well,
he doesn't want he doesn't want a lot of controversy.
Not to have minute evaluations out there when they're trying to learn the offense.
Right, right. But let's be serious. It's not like Kevin Wilson is not Bill Lynch when it comes to protecting players. He's not afraid to throw some.
No.
He's not afraid to throw some people under the bus and saying, "No, you guys aren't performing well." Like Bill would never, ever, ever do that.
But he just doesn't want the harsh glare until they're a little
they're kind
along,
of But anyway. So I guess let's look at the four. I mean, Teddy Shell and Adam Fullett are theoretically in this. I don't think Teddy. I don't know. I mean, Teddy didn't have a bad day. I don't want to like rip on him or anything like that. There's occasions when he can be effective. He obviously ran a nice ball in for a touchdown. And Adam Fullett, I think, throws the ball pretty hard. He has a pretty good arm. So I don't want to like rip them, but it's pretty much between Dusty and Ed. And I think that's kind of reaffirmed today. What did you think about those two guys? From they won't tell us where it stands, but where do you think it stands at this point?
Well, and this is just a gut thing, but I think it's Dusty's job as of right now, but not based upon today's performance.
No.
I'm just talking about comments and just sort of
there was some reading between the lines.
Exactly. Yeah. And I could be totally off base about that, but that was kind of my supposition, and I don't think that's definitive. I don't think that's in any way decided. But I think if they had to go today, that would more likely be Dusty, given what we've heard. Now, today, Dusty started off really well. He hit 4 out of his first 5, but he ended up just barely over 50%. He was 14 of 27. Now, he threw for almost 200 yards, and he threw for a couple of touchdowns. But at least one of the interceptions was just a bad throw, and it cost him 6 points.
Yeah.
So he was very hot and cold after that.
Yeah.
Ed Wright Baker was 8 for 10. And really looked like he made good decisions and knew where he wanted to go with the ball. He didn't throw as many long passes as Dusty did, although it was a little more short stuff. So maybe that helped him have the higher completion percentage. But he looked very sharp. He had a nice couple of runs out of the backfield based upon today.
Yeah.
I thought Ed had a better day than Dusty did. But just in terms of hearing what people are saying, I'm thinking maybe Dusty has a slight advantage. Partially because he got a little faster start this spring than Ed did.
Yeah, it still seems to me that Dusty has a more complete understanding of the offense. I mean, Ed still freelances a little bit. Now Ed's got more speed. Especially Ed's got more shiftiness. Dusty's not slow, but Ed I think is faster, and Ed's definitely more shifty. You can see. It's one of those no contact on the quarterback's games. So they both would have had Ed especially had a ton. Ed would have had a ton of running yards today. If it weren't touched today, I mean, there was a couple where you're like, all right, well, even if he tackles him there, he's getting 3 more yards than they're giving him.
I agree.
But I still think Dusty's just throws a better ball. I think. I mean, Ed throws some nice ones. It's not that he doesn't. And they both have arm strength.
He had a really nice. Ed had a really nice deep post today.
He did. No, he dragged a big one, but I still think Dusty has a little bit more control. But I don't know. They're still going to kind of wait it out, let the summer happen, see who leads. We talk a lot about leading on 7-on-7 drills, those sorts of things, and they're kind of going to wait to see how that goes. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I just want to kind of go through a couple other defense, lineup things that I thought stood out to me. You had 2 freshmen were playing on the O-line, Ralston Evans and Cody Evers. They've been really happy with those 2 guys, how they progressed. Matt Perez, I thought, did a really good job.
Especially coming off an ACL in the fall.
Really bad ACL injury.
I'm amazed he's out there.
Yeah, he had 46 rushing yards. It doesn't seem like a lot, but he made some really good runs.
He did.
Defensive, it seems like the second end position is really open opposite Darius Johnson. You saw Ryan Phillips working there today, which I think is kind of new, along with Kevin Bush, Fred Jones, and some other guys. Javon Conley got a little bit of time. I think the third linebacker job is kind of open. I think Chase Hubler might be the favorite there. Thomas and Beckham seem like they're pretty solid. And safety, the D-backs seem mostly who you think, but it seems like Jarrell Drain is ahead of Donnell Jones right now. by September, by August, there's still a lot wide open. They're
Yeah,
saying
it's
a
still,
lot's
it's,
wide
it's
open.
still pretty mysterious. We know a little more today. There were a few clues today about how things are developing,
Yeah.
but it is still very opaque
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point.
We're only going to see so much of it. This is the most we've seen.
Yep.
So, you guys, whoever was here, you know as much as we do right now. Anyway, thanks a lot. Stick with us. We'll have a lot more coverage on the scoop on this thing. Thank you.
Bye.